Good morning. My name is Aryan Singh Rana, and in today's video, I'll be showing you how to make a notes app using which would include the features like a rich text editor, how to download the saved notes, how to save the notes, and much more. So let me just show you how my notes app is looking like. Uh, Let me just start my server, test server. So as you can see that this is the notes app that I'll be explaining you how I made it. I won't be going through all the CSS part because if I went through that as well, then what would happen is that it would make the video much longer than it needs to be. The CSS part is basically what you want. It's like something that that express your creativity. So I'll let you handle the CSS part by yourself. I explain you how I made this notes app through the without just explaining CSS. So let's go through the functionality of this notes app. So as you can see that this is a Glyph notes app that I have created, React app that I have created. It's a web application. There is no backend attached to it. It is just a simple front end project. I am planning to add backend attachments to it, but it would be in the next video. So as you can see that first when we load into the page, we are greeted with this beautiful message, which is a bit with the help of the magic of the animation in the CSS, which says that welcome to the Glyph notes. Now, as you can see that this is the saved side view over here. Also, this side view, what it would show is that whatever notes we are saving would be displayed in this side view. So as you can see that first it is saying that no save notes yet. It means that we first need to save a note, then it would be displayed over here. Now, where we can see that there is a search bar over here as well. So I have included a functionality in which if we want to search for a particular note, we can search it by using its title. So as you can see that there's a new notes button. So when I click on it, as you can see that it is opening my rich text editor, which would help me in saving and in creation and saving of my notes. So as you can see that my notes app has a pretty wide variety of text editing features. So first, as you can see that it asks me to enter a title. So let's say uh, first note. So this would be the title of my first note. And now let me just, as you can see that this is the menu. When I'm going on the new line, there is a new menu that is being popped up. Now, this menu is known as the float menu. It always pops up when it detects a new line character, which was the slash in character. So, what does the menu includes? It includes the text formatting features like heading size, which is can vary from H1 to H6. H1 being the largest and H6 being the smallest. It also gives us the option to choose the font style or font family. So let's say I want H2 heading, and as you can see that when I click on the H2 or H3, it changed its color. Again, this is the CSS part only. Now when I click on what type of text family I want, font family I want, let's say I want Arial black. Here's my Arial black. So as you can see that Arial black is also active. So if when I type something, it should be in Arial black font family. So let's say hi, I am. So as you can see that it is in H2 heading, and as well as it is also in the family of Arial black. So now if what let's go through the other features. Now let's say I want to change the color of my name, which is Aryan. So first I'll select my name, then I'll go into this color section over here now, which is represented by this dropper symbol. If I click on it, as you can see that it gives me an option to change the color. I can select any color and it would apply to it. So as you can see that it has changed the color, and also it won't only apply to this particular word only. It would also apply to whatever text that I will be writing next. So let's say my name is, let's complete my name. So as you can see that now the color has been changed to the color that I previously selected. Uh, let's say I want to underline I am. So if I select that and click on underline, then it would underline it. So it, as you can see that it is only underlining the part that I'm selecting. Or if want to write new text and it should be always underlined, then I click on this underline. Now it's active, and now if I write anything, it will have underline as well. We have a strike through as well. So whatever we write would be strike through with a line. Again, we have features like italics. So if I want to change my name into italics, if I click on my italic button, and it would be, as you can see, in the italic style. And now, if I want my the text that I enter to be italic without doing the whole selection process, then I click on italic, and whatever I'll write will be in italics. Similarly for bold, as you can, but it's the size, the font style is currently Arial black, so it's always bold. So we won't be able to see the bold effect. You can see a little bit of boldness. Now let's just change the font style of this text that I'm selecting. So for that, what I need to do first, I'll activate this FI symbol. It would activate my bubble menu. Now, what is my bubble menu? Is that whenever I activating this particular button, then what would happen is that if I select this option and then release, a menu would appear on my selection only. So as you can see that it is indicating that the current text I found family is Arial black. No, I want to be time Roman, new times Roman, or monospace. So I can change it to anything. I this remember, this menu pops up only when I am when this button is activated and I select something. So that is really important. If the button is closed and I select something, then the menu won't pop out. Now again, I have also added the functionality of creating the ordered list or unordered list. So let's say I want to create an ordered list. It would create me an ordered list. Now, if I, let's say, if I'm creating a list and I forgot to and I want to make this into an sorry, the bullet points is for unordered list, and the numbering would be for the ordered list. So let's say there is 2 3 lines, 2 3 sentences, and at the end of the each sentences there is a new line character which is backslash n. So if I select these 3 sentences and I click on my ordered list button, then it would create a new ordered list button. Again, this would create a new list or new list item when it detects a new line character. Now, again, also I have created the feature of undo and redo. So this is for undo. As you can see that if there is something to undo, this button will glow yellow. And if I click on it, it would undo. As you can see that it is undoing. Now, you can see that when there is nothing to redo, the button is not doing anything. But if I click on undo, then this button glows yellow. It means that we can apply the redo functionality. And if I click on redo, it will redo the activity that I did. Now, let's say this is my note that I have created and I want to save it. So this is the save button over here. If I click on it, it would save my note and immediately show me my content that I have created. And as you can see that the side menu also got updated, and it shows the title of my note and the last date and time the note was modified. So as you can see that this every time I edit my note, the date and time would be changed to the last time I edited this current note. Now, to edit my saved note, what I need to do is that when I click, when I, let's say, let's create a new note again. Let's say, second note. Let's just by mistake. So yeah, second note, and let's say this is second. Okay, now I'll save that. Again, notice that whenever I save a new note, it always shows in my side menu, and it shows whatever this note has currently saved in this view. Remember, when we are seeing the saved note, then the text editor, rich text editor won't be activated because this is the viewing mode. Now, of course, I forgot to mention there are 3 modes that I've implemented inside my this Notes app. One is my editor mode, which is let's say if I want to edit this mode or no this note, or I want to create my new note. Of course, if I want to, let's say I want to edit this note. Now I could click on my edit button, and it would go to my editor mode, and this rich text editor would get activated. Now, if I want to and see my saved note, let's say I want to see my second save note, then what would happen is that it would go and activate this save note mode, which shows my notes that I have saved previously. Now, if I want to delete any of the note, then there is a delete button or that is available inside my side view or side panel. So if I click on it, it would delete my side view note, and it would then redirect me to the home page. This is the third mode, which is the home page. Now, why we are being redirected to the home page when I delete the currently opened node, is that because if we delete a node, then there is nothing to show. That's why the default would be to navigate to the user to the home page. Now, if I go over here, as you can see that this is the same node. I've also given a functionality for the user to download the node that they have created along with the text formatting that they have applied on it. So as you can see that there is a download button over here that I have given for the user to use. So if I click on it, it would open a print screen, and it will show me the text that I have created, the node that I have created along with the formatting. Then the user can click on this save button, and it would open a dialog box prompting the user to uh, to browse the location where they want to save this current node along with saving its name. So I have also given the user the liberty to change the name of the saved node according to their will. Now again, it's now showing I've deleted each node, so it is showing nothing. So now if I go on create new nodes, let's say 1122, save it. Again, a new node, let's say 3344, and let's the last node be with the title 5566. Okay, I forgot to show you the last updated version. So as you can see that the last updated version was on 30th March 2024, and the time is this one. So if I click on edit and I change it, so let's say 5J and something like this. So if I click on save, notice that the time and the time would change. So currently the previously saved was 19:08. Now currently the time is 19:09, so it would be updated to 19:09. So as you can see that the title got updated, and the time of the last update is also depicted over here. So yeah, the search functionality. Let's say I want the note with the title 5 5. As you can see that as I just clicked the 5, it showed my 5. If let's say there isn't a node, there is a node that I want to see which starts from 6, and we know that there is not a node that exists with the title 6. So if I click on 6, yeah, the search functionality checks checks for the input that we are giving inside the search box, and it would compare it from each and every character within my title. So let's say something like the. As you can see that if I write the, then it would show nothing. It means that there is not a single note with the title having this character in it. So that's how the search functionality is working. Now let's go to the code base and see how all of this is working. So coming to the app.js, this is our main file. As we all know, this is the React project, and this is our main file. And whatever we see in our main product is the result of the component that are used over here. So, as you can see that as I told you, there are three modes: home, editing, and showing the save notes. How I am changing to that notes? I am using the React router DOM library to navigate or to redirect the user to according to whatever mode the user is currently using, and show the components that are necessary for that mode. So as you can see that I am using the route over here, and it is routing to my three modes, which is first if the path of my URL is slash, it means that the URL, the user should be redirected to the home page. If the path of my URL ends with show saved, then the user would be redirected to my saved sorry to my read, let's say the read mode. And if the user is on editing mode, then want to edit something, then the user would be redirected with the URL with the ending of slash editor, and it would show my editor component. So these are the three modes that I told you. Now, in each and every mode, as you can see that in each and every mode, the main navigation bar, this main navigation bar always remains. Now, how is that? Because I am rendering this navigation bar out of my routes function, so it would remain in each and every redirections. Now, yes, coming to the how I'm saving my nodes. As I told you, currently this is a only front end project. The backend has not been connected to it yet. So I'm making use of my local storage to store the data. So let me just show you how the local storage is storing the data. Application, local storage. As you can see that my local storage, I'm using my local storage as a backend to store everything. Now, how am I storing the data first? So as you can see that whenever the user clicks on the save button in the editor menu, then what happens is that it creates a new ID for that specific node. Now, how the ID is being created? The ID is being created. Let me just show you editor, the main editor, and handle save function. So just me show you that yes. So whenever the user clicks on this button, the on click there is an on click event on this button. So what happens is that whenever I click on it, this button would activate this handle save function. Now what would it would do is that it would first get the data from my editor. Okay, so let's forget about how. Let's just simply go through how the I'm saving it. I'll go through the code a bit later. So what happens is that it first takes the original title of that node, then adds an underscore, and then you makes use of the date object to create a unique ID. So what happens is that note why I'm doing that a note multiple nodes can have same title, but the multiple nodes cannot have never have the same date and exact time. So that's why I'm using the title and the mixture of both the title and the date object, which returns my current date, the current date when the click current date and time when the user clicks the save button. So that's why as you can see that it's different. Now, this is stored as the key inside my local host, inside my local storage. Now, what is being stored as the value of the unique ID is that, as you can see that it is storing an object. And what does my object holds? As you can see that my object holds ID and a title. The content, as you can see that the content is in HTML. I'll get on to it later. Why is it storing in HTML style or HTML formatting? The last date, the last modified date, and the last modified time. So if as you can see that if I click on save now, the this would change. As you can see that it got changed. So as you can see that this is how the storing and the retrieval of the data is taking place. Now let's first go through the code for each and everything. Now coming to the side view, how my side view is showing me everything. So first, what I did, I used recoil over here. Recoil is used for state management. So I used recoil and I created a atom known as data from local. And what it would be doing is that it would be getting my data, my arrays of unique IDs from the local storage. So I am talking about this arrays of IDs, or you can say the arrays of keys. So that's why, as you can see that this is the syntax for the atom, and it would be holding two things. First is the data. As you can see that object.keys would return the arrays of sorry for this effect. object for just a second, let me disable it. So yeah, it would be holding my object, sorry, the arrays of keys that is currently stored inside my local storage. And then it again, it would be first is that thing. Now, secondly, it would be also storing the current mode of my Notes app. So currently, the default value is home. So whenever my page is loaded or loaded for the first time, it would always show the home page. Now, coming to the selector for this recoil, what is happening is that I'm getting the keys from my local storage, right? Now I want to access the data that is held with the values of those particular unique keys. So how am I doing that? How I'm doing this with the help of my selector. So selector is used to do processing over the whatever data or state is saved inside my atom. So it would make use of the atom. As you can see that I am importing my atom from this file. After that, I am making use of the selector syntax and how I am accessing the value. As you can see that first, I am using the get functionality, and the get functionality would get all my data from my local storage. So now data keys holds my object. Now the object contains the array of my keys and the state, current state. Okay. So now I am making use of my map function, and as you can see that I am returning data keys dot data. So it would access the array of my unique keys, and it would apply the map function on it. Now, what would map function do? It would return a new modified array of the current array. So how what it would be modified with? So it would return the JSON.parse. Now, of course, I forgot to mention that when we want to store anything inside our local storage, it only accepts the data type of the key and value as string, nothing else. We cannot store anything like object array inside our value. Now to get past that, what we do is that we make use of a function known as JSON.stringify. Now, what it does that it converts my object into a string. So function. So the value that you are seeing over here as an object is actually a string, but it is not representing the double quotes that we are used to applying at the starting and ending of the string. So yeah, this whole object is actually not an object. This whole thing is a string that was originally an object, but now is being converted to a string using the JSON.stringify. Now, if we want to access this object and not as a string but the object data type, then we need to reverse the process. So we make use of the functionality known as the JSON.parse. So it converts my whole string into its original data format. So it now the local storage would get the item from my arrays of keys, and it would convert my it would sorry get the value of each and every different unique ID that is stored inside my data keys dot data, and it would convert it sorry it would extract the values and convert it to the original object, and then it would this map function in turns return the array of objects, and the object represents each and every single saved node. So this is how the extraction of the data is taking place. Now coming to the side view, how I'm showing my saved nodes. So as I told you, that is how I'm making use of my recoil and my selector. My recoil for two things: to get the arrays of my object unique IDs, and to save the current mode the user is currently on, or to change it whenever the user wants to. And the third is my selector, which is extracting the data and converting it the data type from string to its default state, which is an object. So after that, as you can see that yes. So after that, I'm taking my selector. So my selector, as you can see that this is the object arrays of object, which is use recoil value, and I'm taking my processed selector. So as you can see that I'm exporting my selector as processed, and I have imported my processed over here from my selectors file, and I'm making use of it using the hook which is reuse recoil value. It is the hook which is used to which is only used for using the selectors. And I'm also making use of my recoil, sorry, making use of my atom. So as you can see that I'm making use of my atom as with the help of my use recoil state, and this is the atom that I am importing from this file location. And it is returning two things. One is the variable, and second is its second setter function. So as we know that when we do some changes in an atom, we make use of this setter function, and these setter functions setter function triggers a re-render of the component. So that is why I'm using the atom, or sorry, recall over here to re-render my object whenever user does something. So again, the search. Okay, though this search use state is taking the value, taking the value, or you can say the taking the value that I am entering inside my search box. So again, I'll let you know why I'm using use state over here a bit later. After that, I also made the use of dynamic navigation. Sorry, I did not use it, so there is no need for that. The second's compiling. Sorry, it was a unnecessary thing, because you can see that it was not being used anywhere. So just a second. Yes. So after that, again, uh, also, I am making use of my search param. Now, remember, as you can see that whenever I click on any of these nodes, you can observe the my search bar and its search param. As you can see that I'm using my query param over here. So the ID is represented by the ID that it is representing. It is the ID that is stored inside my object. As I told you, the object stores my title, ID, the content, the last date and time it was modified on. So I'm making use of the ID to show my saved node. Okay. So yes, I'm making use of my query param just to show my save node, because it would help me to find my ID. If I click on this, then it would change the URL path, and my read mode would detect that change in URL path using the use effect. I'll explain that also. And it would then render the current save node by extracting the ID from the query param ID. So that is why I'm using my usage param over here. Now, let me show you the components first. So first, it is returning the container, which is the side panel. This is this whole container. From this to this whole container is my side panel. After that, you can see that it is. I have also created a div, which is starting from here to here from my search box. So this is my search box. It includes my input box, which is this one where where I can type, and it also includes the symbol that I am using, which I have used from my uh, font awesome site. So after that, coming to it, you can see that whenever there is a change inside my input box, what is happening is that it is triggering the set search. Now what the search is doing is that sets, as I told you, set search is my query param. So it would trigger the search param. Just a second. Yes, sorry, I think I was talking about this quite time. Yes, the search is not for a unique ID. It is for searching within my notes. So whenever I search something, it would trigger the re-render of my whole object, and it would search the through all the nodes with the help of the use state search. So coming to the on change, let's see on change. Okay, let me just first show you how I'm rendering my list over here. So as you can see that I again created a div with a container which is named as nodes list, which is this from this portion till this portion, from here to here, excluding my search box, and it is showing my nodes list. and also there is a conditional rendering over here. So if my nodes list, again, my nodes list is the result of my map function. I'll explain it a bit later. So if my array nodes list is 0, it means that there is no saved node, currently saved node inside my local storage. So it would return this thing, which is heading, which with the class name which is empty, and it would say no saved nodes. As I told you, when we load up the page for the first time, then what would happen? Then it was showing that box thing, and it was saying the same thing, no saved nodes yet. So that is how I am showing that if there is no nodes, then the user needs to create a new node for it, for the side panel to be able to show these previously saved nodes. Now coming to the how I'm rendering my nodes. So as you can see that this is my nodes variable which holds my data. So as you can see that okay, let me just first show you the search one, because it is making use of filters data, and it is related to this search one. Whenever it happens, it would change my search use state using the set search for setter function, and it would trigger the re-render of the whole component. Now, where this set search is being used, so as you can see that, just a second, in the filters data variable, I am filtering my data according to whatever this input is being entered in my search box. So as I told you, this object is returning my arrays of object from my selector, and because it is an array, that's why I'm able to use my filter function over here. And what filter function is, does that it makes use of a callback function, and whenever the callback function condition is satisfied, it would only return those particular elements. Now in our case, what we want the filter to return is that we want the filter to return whatever we want to it to return, to first check the input that is being entered by the user, and then go through each and every title of the object inside my array, and see if the inputted data by the user inside my search box is included in any of my title of, or is contained in inside any of my title. So as you can see that I'm using the object over here, it would filter. Now I am extracting my title from my objects of array. Sorry, from my array of object, and object contains, each object contains title. So I'm extracting my title and storing it inside of this. So if title is there, then what would happen is that it would return the title dot lowercase dot includes search dot to lowercase. So what is happening over here is that if my title to lowercase, it is so that to negate the the letters uppercase or lowercase mismatch. So first I'm converting my title to lowercase, then I'm checking if my title includes whatever. As you can see that I'm making use of the search use state that I am updating whenever there is a change in my search box. So it would check with that input, and if it is included, then it would return that, and the filtered array with the help of my filter function would include that object inside my array that is being returned by filter function. If it is not doing that, then it would return false, and it would no, it won't be included inside my filtered array. So that's how the search function is working. Now coming to the rendering of the list. Now I'm making use of that filtered data, because as I told you, this nodes is being used to show each and every save node. So the filtered data is, as I told you, the it would be the array of objects with each and every object being filtered. Sorry, each and every object matching these specification of my search value. So as you can see that, then it would simply return object, sorry, HTML command, which is my data, which is my notes that you can see over here, this HTML element. First I created a div, And as we know, each and every map function that each and every element that the map function returns should have a unique key. So I use my data's ID, as I previously mentioned before, the object contains my ID. So I'm making that ID, making use of that ID as the unique key for each and every save notes representation over here. So first, what I'm doing is that if my user is clicking on this node, then I'm making use of a link function, link tag. So this also comes under my React Router DOM library. So what is does that whenever we click on something and that element is contained within my link tag, then what would happen is that it would set my URL path to this one. So as you can see that this is how I am changing my query param. So whenever the user clicks on it, it would first change the ending of the URL to slash show save notes. And if this would trigger my reading mode to start. And then also I'm setting my query, as you can see that I'm setting my query with the help of the ID that is inside my object. So that is how I am changing the dynamically changing which nodes to show when the user clicks on it. And after that also on click, I am making use of my atom and changing my state to read mode. As you can see that this would also again trigger the read render of my components. Now again, if you can see that how whenever I'm clicking on it, the current node is highlighted, showing that we are currently seeing this node. If I click on it, then it is highlighted that we are currently seeing this node. Now, how am I doing that? I'm using CSS, but how using my CSS over here is that first I am making use of my query param. As you can see that this query param, it is accessing my current URLs query param, and it would check if the ID object, this ID or key, sorry, this ID key's value, it is checking what is the ID's key, this key ID's value. So if that value is equal to current object's ID, then what would happen is that it would set its class as active navlink. And if it is not equal, then it would set its class as showed list. So active navlinks have a different CSS formatting, which is this CSS formatting that you are seeing, which is white text and black background. And the showed list class name has the CSS formatting of white background, black text. So that is how I am dynamically changing my class name according to my query param. And that is how the effect of the user getting the experience of okay, I am currently seeing this node. And if I click on it, okay, I'm currently seeing this node. This is how the user is getting that effect. Now, coming to the rest of the showing of the data. Now, again, I am using my this ID function. Uh, Sorry, the class dynamically. I'm making use of this JS command again here to change the styling for my font as well. And it is showing my title. As you can see that it is showing my title. And inside my title, there is date and time as well. So this is, as you can see that first it show date, then it extracts the date, the last save date from my object. And after that, I'm also displaying the delete button to say delete that particular node. Now, how my delete function is working. So whenever the user clicks on my delete button, then it would trigger my handle delete function. And what it would do is that it would take the current, it would first see where that input is coming from, and it would make use of its ID. Now, as I told you, I am saving my save notes inside my local storage as a key value pair, and my key is the ID of my current node. And ID of my current node, and each node has its own unique ID. So what I am doing is that first I am changing the mode to my home page. So as you can see that it would changing the mode, it would change my mode to home page. After that, what I am doing is that, oh sorry, first I'm removing the object from my local storage. Sorry, key value pair from my local storage. So as you can see that local storage dot remove item, it will remove the key value pair where the key is equal to the current ID, or and the what ID is what ID is. So as you can see that handle delete would return the current object's ID. Okay, so I'm making use of that ID over here. So it would remove that, completely remove that from my local storage. Let me show you how it's working. Mm, application. So if I click on this delete button, so as you can see that the title is 122J, and the title over here, as you can see, it should remove this key value pair when I click on it. So when I click on it, as you can see that that was removed, and I've been and the mode, the current mode of the whole page has been changed to home. That's why I'm redirected to home as well. So that is how it is doing everything. Again, after deletion, I want to show that the note has been deleted. So for that to show, because I need to trigger a re-render inside my side panel. So how am I doing that? I am doing that with the help of this set data. So as I told you, my data is the atom that I'm accessing from this atom file over here. And the data, what would it would what it would do is that it would update the arrays of keys. As I told you, the atom is storing the array of keys that is stored inside my local storage. So again, we are using the filter command over here to update my data array of keys. So what it would do is that it would apply my filter command, and it would only store the objects, sorry, it would only store the keys which do not have the value equal to the current ID. So it means that it will include everything except the current ID, that the current ID of the save node that we have deleted. That is how my side panel is working. Now coming to my main editor. So as you can see that, okay, so let's go to through the saved one first. Okay. So how I'm showing my saved data. So as you can see that I make first, as I told you, the saved the read mode is making, you can say that this component is representing the reading mode. So the reading mode is making use of my query param, and because it is making use of my query param, I am able to show different save nodes. So first, as you can see that I use the dynamic navigation over here as well. This variable to get my current query param from the URL. After that, I am showing my pre-added content. So how am I showing my pre-added content? I am extracting my object first. So as you can see that first, I am getting my data. So we can also use it from the selector as well, but I use it. I am directly extracting it from my local storage. So as you can see that first I am getting the current ID. So how am I getting my ID? I'm using q.get ID. So it would give me this value. Just a second. It would provide me with this value. And as I told you, this value is the key of each and every save node. So I am getting that whole object. Now, as I told you, the object is stored inside my local storage as a string. So I need to convert it back to the object. So as you can see that I use json.parse over here. Again, if my if there is nothing with the key that we are trying to access and it returns null, then what it would do, it would return me null over here, sorry, an empty string over here. And if it is not null, then it would return me the object. Now after that, I made use of my use state, which is content. So it would show me my content. So whenever there is a change in my query param, every time there is a change in my query param, I would use the setter function of my content and change its content, which would trigger a re-render of that component. After the re-render is done, it will show me the current save notes content that we are trying to see. Now, how am I changing it? I'm making use of my use effect. So, what is happening over here is that first I'm updating my pre-edit content similarly to that fashion. It's the same. This is the same piece of code that is over here. Now, after that is done, I'm using the setter function of my content and I'm setting my content inside of it. So, as you can see that I'm setting my content. Yes, just a second, local storage dot get item. Yes, yes. Okay, I totally forgot to mention again. I'm because I'm making only extracting the content, so my content contains my title in the HTML format and my content that is below my title. So I forgot to because I forgot to see this dot content. So yeah, I'm first getting my object and I'm extracting the content from it. After that, I'm making use of the setter function, which would re-render my whole reading mode, and it would show me the current ID, current function. Now, this is the dependency array. So, use effect always checks if there is a change in my dependency array. So, the dependency array is always checking if my query param has any changes. So, if as you can see that I click on it, it is changing, and if I click on it, it is also changing because the use effect has this user ID under its what was it dependency array. So whenever there is a change in it, the use effect would trigger itself and it would re-trigger this whole code processing, which would again trigger this set content. After that, this is pretty simple. I am using the file title variable to get my title and to dynamically navigate to the home page. Okay, so after that, as you can see that this is the just a second. Yes, uh, JSON.parse then title. Yes. After that, now coming to the how I'm showing my this content. So to show this content, as I told you, this is being stored as a string inside my set content. I'm making use of this set content. So first, I created a div which would show my content, inside of which it would show my content, and I'm accessing its DOM element using the use ref. So first I gave this ref attribute to this content ref, and this content ref is my use ref hook. So it is getting the access of that current the divs, sorry, the div elements DOM element. Now, how am I showing my content? I am dangerously injecting my content inside my div. So why is it dangerously? Because it is known as dangerously because it makes my code a bit vulnerable to attack, to malicious things like if the user inputted something, then it would directly change the DOM element because the dangerously input function changes the DOM element itself, and it could the attacker can make use of that vulnerability. I'm planning on fixing this in the future as well. So this is making use of the content, and it would convert my content, which is in string, into the HTML command. Now, again, as I told you, there's a download button over here, and how I'm downloading it, I'm using React to print library, and what it would do, it would trigger whenever I'm clicking on it, it would trigger, and it would do, it would uh, okay. So what is it doing? It would trigger this component, and by React my this component, what is that, it will give me the pop out, and it is making use of the direct DOM element reference, as you can see that content.ref.current. So it would give me the access to that div elements DOM reference, or you can say yes, DOM element reference, and it would show me that only. Now, so as you can see that this is how my read mode is working. So just a second. Yes. Now coming to my main editor. Now again, I created my main editor with my main rich text editor with the help of a library known as TipTap. So the TipTap have multiple things. Let me just show you how it's working. Uh, there are multiple extensions to my TipTap. So first, let me just show you. So extensions are stored as an array. So first is the starter kit, which includes my basic thing like bold, italic, and everything. So starter kit is an extension that contains all of that stuff, and it also contains my document. So what I am doing is that I am not making use of the doc. So whatever we are typing inside of my rich text editor, we are typing it inside of my document. But I do not want to make use of my starter kit document because it is pre-included. I want to make use of a custom document. So just a second, there is a light outage. So yeah, I want to make use of my custom document to show this placeholder. Okay. So because of this placeholder, it makes it necessary for the user to always enter a title. So if I try to save it, then what would happen? It would give me a pop-out saying that, please enter a heading for this node before saving it. So yeah, that is how it is working. So coming to the extensions now, I have shown you earlier, I am also making use of my changing in font family style. So this extension is for that. Now my text is handling all the text that I am inputting in it. Now this text style is a mark. Now what is this mark? What is does that? Let's say this is my title and I want to change this specific portion of my text to bold, italic, and underline. Now, what is happening? This text style extension is a mark. So whatever I'm selecting, it would apply a span tag starting at the starting and the end of the selected portion. So it would enter my span tag within my content. So it would enter it over here and enter it over here. And it would then help me apply to styles to my selected portions only. That is why I'm using textile over here. The underline is a separate extension. It was not pre-included inside my starter kit. The color function. So as I shown you, I can dynamically change my text color. And now this is my custom document. So as you can see that this is the command for the placeholder. As you can see that if I remove my title, second. If I remove my title, then it shows that please enter a title. This is a placeholder. Now coming to the pre-audit content. So yeah, if I creating a new note, then there is nothing there is no pre-edit content or no previously saved content. But if I'm editing a pre-existing note, then it is a whole different story. That is why I made use of the pre-edit content over here as well. So if it would check if the current query param is returning a null value or not. If it is returning a null value, then it would return my from the local storage, then it would return an empty string. If it is not returning empty value, or you can say a null value, then it would extract the content from it. And then I'm using my content over here. So editor to store my pre-edit content. So to make use of my editor, we need to use the hook user known as use editor. And inside my use editor is where I can mention what extensions to use. So as I told you, the extensions is a array of extensions that I want to use. So I am mentioning it over here. So now this editor has become a rich text editor itself. So after that, it also has a attribute, or you can say it also has a feature to pre-add a content. So as you can see that I'm making use of this content over here to pre-add a content. If it is there is nothing to show because it is a new node, then it will show me a empty editor. And if we are editing the pre-existing node, then it would show me the previously saved data. Now, coming to what it is showing, it is a bit longer code, so I won't go through each and everything. You can go through. So yeah, I have provided the repository link inside the description of this video, so you can go and check it out from there. Now, coming to the buttons functionality. Okay. Now this whole black portion is a div container in itself, and it contains my different buttons. So to execute different functionality like bold, italic, and something like that, then what is happening is that whenever I'm clicking on that button, so as you can see that when I'm clicking on that button, it would trigger, it would, as you can see that this is a button, it would trigger the on click event, and what it would do, it would first go to my editor. Now, as I told you, my editor is a rich text editor. It would initiate a chain of command. It would set the editor's focus to wherever we want it to. Then it would toggle bold. So this is a function. These are the functions that are predefined inside my library, and then it would initiate this chain of command. Now toggle bold. So if the bold was previously active, then it would inactivate. If the bold was previously inactive, then it would activate it. Similarly, these functions is implemented uh, every button. Of course, the toggle bold portion is different for each and every functionality. So for italic, it would be toggle italics. For underline, it would be toggle underline, and the rest of the things are similarly like that. Now, as you can see that whenever I click on it, the CSS change. Again, I am using the making use of my dynamic CSS. First, it would see if again this editor dot is active is a pre-existing function inside my library, so it would see if my current style underline is active or not. So editor dot is active, it would check if my current style is active. If it is active, then it would set the class name of this button as is active, and if it is not active, then it would set the buttons as the class name of the current button. So the buttons CSS formatting looks like this, and is active button formatting looks like this. Now coming to the float bubble menu. So the bubble menu, as I told you, is the menu. If I click on it, it would activate my bubble menu, and if I select something, it would show me this menu. This menu is contained inside my bubble component. So as you can see that this is my bubble component, and it would activate inside. It is making use of the editor. This is the attribute which specifies that which editor to activate in. So I want to use it in my editor variable, or as editor current rich text editor, which is stored inside my editor variable. So it would be activating in that. So the whatever the things for the bolds and everything else is similar over here. So it is also storing the multiple buttons which represent different font styles, and it would represent that only, and these things are similarly for that as well. The functionalities is same like these as well. Similarly for float menu, as you can see that the bubble menu ends over here, and similarly for floating menu. So what it was, as I told you, this floating menu and bubble menu is also a part of my TipTap library. So this floating menu, what is happening is that inside my floating menu, as I told you, whenever my cursor detects a new line character, then it shows a pops out menu. So similarly, that is this menu over here, and this is the end of my floating menus. Now after that, I am returning my editor. Finally, I'm returning my editor by making use of this content. So this editor content is this editor over here. Just a second. Is this whole editor over here? The things that you can see, let me just see if you can select it inside my inspect element. So yeah, the editor content is this whole blue box over here, and it is making use of my current editor. So this is how my editor is functioning. Now coming to how I am saving it. Just a second. Let me go to the save button first. Just a second. Save. Yes, handle save. So as you can see that this is my save button. Uh, my save button is inside my main editor. So of course, there's okay. I forgot to mention about my short circuits over here. So there are few things. Let's say, let me show you first. So currently I am in my editor mode, and if I click on my save, then notice that it shows the new notes button and the editor notes button. Now, if I navigate to my home page with this address, as you can see that it is showing the new notes. When I click on my new notes, it is now converted to cancel. So if I click on cancel, it would cancel the creation of new notes. And if I click on save, okay, so it won't save. So now let me come to the save one. So if I'm in my reading mode, it is showing me two buttons, which is new notes and edit. So how is it happening? I'm making use of my mode that I'm saving inside my atom as the value of the state key, and I'm using it as the short circuit. So as you can see that if my now the state is the variable that is extracting the data from my atom, and the atom holds the state key, and it is checking if my state is equal to edit or it is equal to new nodes, then it would show me this content. So this is my short circuit. So if this is true, just a second. So if my this condition is true, then it would return my this object or data or HTML, you can say HTML element. So the HTML currently the HTML element was saved. So if I click on save, it would initiate my save functionality. And what is happening in my save functionality is that it would first get my HTML data from the content from the editor. So this is an inbuilt function which is HTML dot editor dot cache HTML. Now after that, I want to extract my first heading. And now, as I told you, the inside my note, it is compulsory to make a title first. And my title is stored inside my H1 heading. It is always H1 heading. So what would happen is that I am creating an instance for my parser in my DOM element. Now, what would happen is that it would parse inside my HTML content that I am extracting from my editor, and it would see it would search for the first HTML tag. Okay, so first I'm creating a doc, and what doc would do, it would parse inside my HTML data, and after that I am making use of that doc to and query selector to return my first HTML tag, and then convert then extracting its text content only. So if there is a HTML content, let's say H1, then the title, then H1 close, H1 tag closing. So if I take that DOM element using the query selector, and I use dot text content, then it would only return my title, and it would remove that the tags. So after that, what I am doing is that if yes, as I told you, the functionality to mandatorily get a title is coming from here. So if my first heading, it means that if the query selector returns null, then it would alert me saying that it returns null, or it returns an empty string. Then it would send an alert message saying that please enter a heading for this node before saving it, and after that I am breaking my save function by returning null. Now if this condition doesn't satisfy, then it means that there is a title. Now coming to the metadata, or you can say the date and time function, and how I'm using that function date object to create unique ID. So first I am making use of, first I created a variable meta, and it is making use of this date object. So when this date object is created, it would take the current time and date reference. So after that, I am making use of the date and time object. The date object represents the data in this format. Now I want to extract the specific date formatting and the time. So as you can see that this is completely different from this. So whenever we use the date object, it actually shows us the time passed from the time that has been passed from the reference point. So there is a reference point that the each and every system has its own reference point. So it specifically shows the amount of time that has been passed from that reference point, and generally the reference point is around January, month of January, and in 1950, 19 hundreds of years something. So that is the reference point, and this date object returns the time passed since that time. Now I am making a use of that date object, and that date object uh, making would return my current date. So this new date would extract my date from it, date and time from it. So the date and time would look in the formatting like something like it would be like, just a second. Uh, let's say this is something date. Uh, Let me just show you in the console only. So when I let me go to, just a second. So if I go to my inspect element, and we are currently in our console, uh, editing, yes. So if I click on save, it would show me how it is extracting the current date and time from my date object. So as you can see that this is how it is extracting it, which is Saturday, March 30, 2024, and the current time along with the uh, GMT, standard meridian timing, and the IST, uh, the time location, that current time location. So this is how we are extracting it. So this in itself is kind of an object, and what I am doing after getting my this data, first I'm creating the unique ID. So I'm making use of my first heading inside my current DOM element, and after that I am making use of the meta. So as I told you, it shows the time or the second number of seconds passed from my reference point. After that, I am using the send data variable to store send data variable to store my data inside my local storage. So first, what I am doing is that first I will check if the current ID that I am using has the current ID is already existing inside my local storage. So if I try to get item with the current ID and it returns null, it means that it is a new data. And as I told you, okay, so if we are editing, okay, then what is happening is that if I change my title, then it would not change my original ID, or you can say the ID for the keys of the local storage would remain the same, would remain as same as the starting it, or you can say the initial state it was saved in. So as we can remember that the initial title for my this note was something like 3344. So as you can see that I am my search query param is representing 3344 only, but my the title is changed. Now why is that? Because if I keep on updating the title whenever there is a change in my title, then it would create multiple nodes and it would not only update the current node only. So to prevent that, if there is a pre-existing node that we are editing, then it would keep my local storage's key as same as my the ID that I'm getting from my query parameter. And if it is a new node, then it would return then the local storage would return null, and then it would then the ternary operator would return the contents, the first heading from my content, and this unique ID we can say. So yeah, the send data is my object. So as you can see that the ID, this is how the ID is being stored. After that, the title would store my first heading, the content would store my data. So as I told you, the data represents the HTML content. Now, the date, as you can see that the date. So as I told you, after extracting the date from my reference object, date object, what we are making use of this getter function. As I told you, the date is an the date object that we have the date object variable holds the current dates as an object. So this would return my current date. This getter function would return my current month. The how the month does that returns in the sorry the month what does the month return is that it returns the January, we usually represent January with 1, February with 2, March with 3. But the getter function of this object would return the January from 0. So the January is represented by 0, February would be represented by 1, and so on. So to fix that, that's why I am saving it with a +1 value. After that, I am getting my year, and this is how I am storing my whole date uh, key and value pair. Similarly for time, as you can see that similarly for time, first I'm getting the hours, then I'm getting the minutes, then I'm getting the seconds. And that's how you can see that every time we are clicking on the save button, it would always update the date and time of the previously updated state. Now, after that, I'm simply setting my local storage. If it is a new object, as I told you, if the current query param returns a null, then it means that it is a new node. So it would set the key as the new key, which would be the heading and the current metadata. But if the query param, if we try to get the value using the query param inside my from the local storage, and if it returns some value, then what would happen is that it would uh, update the existing key. As you can see that if it is not returning null, then it would set the key as the existing key, and after that the value would get updated with this json.stringify send data. Now this is how this saving of my data is taking place. Now remember that whenever I save it, the mode changes to read mode. How is it happening? It is happening because again I am updating the mode or the state of inside my atom to read. That would trigger the re-render of the whole thing. And after that, I am using the dynamic navigation to change the URL to the current save nodes to the reading mode, and the query param would be set to the ID current ID inside my local storage of the current node. So as you can see that first it would change the URL with this, and the query param would be set to, first it would check if my query param is returning null, then it would set the query param to the new query param. It would set the query param to the new ID, and if it is not returning null, then it would set the query param to the existing ID. So that is how this whole editor is working. Of course, this is the home page. It is pretty simple. There is nothing to explain it over here. This is my main nav. The nav is pretty simple, as you can see that. Okay, so nav has just a few things. Let's say just a second. Uh, how the new nodes is working. Yes. So new nodes is simply making use of my redirection, or you can say that React router DOM library. What it is doing, that it would redirect the user to this, and whenever my editor detects that detects that the query param is returning on query param is an object, and the ID key inside it is returning the new node value, then the editor would be set as the new node, and it whenever we save inside of it would save as a new node. Now this is how the new node is working. Similarly for yes, the how the changing of the button was taking place. So again I used the short circuit over here. So if as you can see that if the current state is either home, or the current mode is either home or read, then this would show my new nodes button. If my current query param is returning the new nodes value, then it would change the cancel button to my sorry, it would change my new notes button to cancel button. So that is how we are able to cancel it. Now, if my current mode is either read or read and not home, it is really important. I want do not because this short circuit is for my edit button, and if I am at my home, then there is nothing to edit. So it is making sure if my current mode is read and not the home. Also, it is not the query parameter is not returning the uh, ID key value as new node, then it would return this update edit button, which means that the reader is currently viewing one of the saved nodes. So this is all about it. This is how my editor is working. This was just a short gist of how all things are working. And I could have explained it a bit more in detail, but it would extend the duration of the video. You can explore my whole code base, a repository in the description of my video. Well, that's all, and thank you for watching. That's all.